had to have this problem like we did in Cincinnati, I should say. So, because the next class, the first paper would be due, and then I'm going to go over the code of ethics, which is for the next paper. So this is the code, values and code of ethics, and we'll get into that next time. But this time around, we get an easy, quick in and out for you guys. And you might see your hometown. Isn't Butler County part of Dayton?
Mm-hmm. I think it's I don't know.
I know. I feel like it is, but I don't know for sure. Oh, my God. You know, you are the champion. So, and you guys can sign in on your sheet. We are keeping it. I got to find one. Here's if you did want to be a social work major. We're showing off our major later on today at I forget where it is, but I'll find out by 3. So I got to end the classes right on time. But are you both social work majors?
I am a psychology major.
Oh, that's right. So you might want one of these. Do you have 15 hours a semester?
No, I actually have underneath it, but that's because I'm a dancer and my advisor was like, because it's your first year, I don't want to stress you out with 6,
Right.
7 classes.
Okay.
So I was gonna make them up this summer.
And you can very easily double psych and social. It's like the same classes. It's seriously, you won't take any extra time being here. You take most of the same classes. I was a psychology undergrad. This is the only reason I preach it. Have you ever heard me preach it about psych?
Mm-hmm. You did 2 weeks ago.
When I graduated, I couldn't find anything. And so with the addition of a social work license, I got job offers cold called on people you just put your resume on the internet and they just call you hey, you want to work? So obviously it's your choice. Do what you want to do. Psychology is a good major. I have one. I wish somebody told me to double it up right when I started, because otherwise, and it saves you a whole year of graduate school, $12,000, because we are accredited here. You qualify for what's called advanced standing master's degree. Which city are you from?
Detroit.
Okay. There's awesome MSW programs in Detroit. And if you finish here with a BSW, basically you're starting your senior year is your first year of graduate school. So when you're a senior here, you take all the classes that skip you out of the first year of grad school, and you can be a clinical master's degree within 11 and a half months right after you graduate. License, run your own practice. So I just wish somebody told me that. That's why I'm going to preach it. You'll get sick of me hearing it, sick of hearing it from me. So sorry if you are tired.
No, you are okay.
I just wish somebody looked out for me. Nobody looked out for me, and I had to look out for myself. So I got kind of. Well, I had to get guess how long it took me to get that master's degree? 3 years.
3 years. That's because
I didn't have a bachelor's in social work. So if you have a bachelor's, it is a 1 year, 36 hours master's. If you, my bachelor's of psychology qualified for nothing, so I had to do full-time 2 year, 65-hour master's, and I was working, so I did it part-time for 3 years, double the amount of hours. So instead of a 30 hours clinical master's degree, you have to take 66 hours to get the clinical, and same with clinical counseling, probably the same with clinical psych. So that's why I was like, why didn't nobody tell me this? Because I get it. Psychology wants to keep people in their majors. And that's why I don't want to say I'm ever taking away from psych. Keep your psych major. Just add social work on and you'll take the same. Did you guys get this yet for your psych major? Do you have one of these?
Yeah.
So these are all the same. You have a few in psych, but it's literally only 12 social work classes in field to get the classes. You're already taking this one because you have to.
Okay.
So that's 11. It might be 10 classes that will fit in as your electives, and you already have to take 120 hours. And usually you're done with everything on the sheet in 100 hours. So you have 20 hours to play with. 22 to be exact, because up at the top it says you take 45 from that side and 49. So you really have 26 hours to play with to get you to 120, which is graduation. With that, you can add a social work degree, no additional classes or anything. So anyway, I'll get off my high horse now.
Why is no one here?
So it's possible they are doing the YouTube live, which I did say is an option, but I heavily recommend against it because I've seen a 50% dropout rate when you do online classes. So I'm always in person, but because of COVID, you can catch me right here on YouTube. There's you guys. Now you're in the video on class. There's always somebody in there. So it's an option, like when you go out to do your cheer stuff. Am I saying it right? Dance team?
Dance.
Okay,
And I dance for school.
right. So
If you go to the classes, I'll be dancing in the food show.
what's that?
If you go to the classes, I'll be dancing in the food show.
When is it?
This Saturday.
Okay.
But it's in Canton, Ohio.
Is it? When do you guys start here? When the football team plays? Okay.
As soon as football season starts.
Okay.
The thing is, we literally been practicing before football season.
Right.
So
Right.
It's a lot.
Okay. Well, so I am keeping it succinct today because you guys did your freshman orientation stuff today, whatever it's called. What did they call it?
Convocation.
Right. So we had.
That was just for freshmen, like upper class.
Oh, so you're already a sophomore.
Mhm.
How many hours do you have?
Honestly, I don't know. I can't tell you. I should really figure that out.
Probably 30.
People ask me that a lot.
You want me to look it up for you?
Yeah, please.
Here we go. This is what I do. This is how I advise you guys, even if I already broke it. It is so hot in here. I wish we could get that right and get right with. Okay. So, what is your last name? Yeah, Leah and Jade are in the room, and then it saves it on YouTube. You can watch it tonight. Like if you missed or were sick. But again, only if you're amazing at your homework would I recommend that, because we really have you ever heard online we have like a 50% completion rate. In person, we're like 80%. But if you do it online, and I can see why, because
I don't even know how to log in anymore.
right. Mine is just Dr. Trouth channel at Central State University on YouTube.
I think I would be logging in.
Right, that's where they write their attendance. But then D2L is where you turn everything in on, right? You can log in a D2L, right?
Mhm.
Okay, I was going to say D2L is like the most important. Okay, I will tell you exactly how many hours you have just to show how we try to keep up with you guys. If you know your student ID number.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll go student information, academic transcript, and then fall of 22. What is your ID? 003? 203. Okay, that's why I am in my mid 40s, so my hearing. All right, so it will say Miss Nix, right? Okay, so you have 36 earned hours.
It's a fair dollar.
A good GPA.
Okay, let's not get out loud.
Right. No, I'm not saying it. You're doing good. You're doing good. Right. And you can challenge yourself to do better. So in social work. So
How was the double stuff where you said that was it's basically the same class?
it really is. That's the thing. It will just influence your psych major. You just get a mixture. It's about 10 extra. It's not extra classes, but it would be social work as like your electives. And then you get a license. You can take license test.
And then you graduated. You said graduated in 3 years for your master's?
It took me 3, but you all qualify for advanced standing if you get a BSW, and it's a 1-year master's program.
Damn, how much is that?
Yes. That's why I keep on pushing it. Sometimes I wish I have a psych degree. Nobody told me that. It was 2 extra years of grad school and like 25.
They ain't tell us that, bro.
Nobody tells you that, and nobody cares. So it's sad, but nobody cares. So yeah, you already have 36, so you're good. Even if you took 14 this semester, you're fine.
Yeah, I'm under 15.
Right.
But I'm gonna take some classes in general to make it.
Right. Yeah. So we do also offer the summer classes, but here's your little list. And as long as you do those not 10 classes, because really you're already taking intro, because it's part of.
So, all right, buddy. So, what would it take for me to double in social work?
Let's see.
I got a lot of those classes on my text.
Yeah, I know. If you've already taken them, you might as well. So let's see if it lets me. So we'll go faculty services, CRN selection. So I have to, not CRN. Let's do student information, student ID selection. So if you give me your ID, I can look at.
000-346-723.
3. Because you graduate in May, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Which is also fine because, like I say, your senior year is almost like your first year of graduate school. So even if you took an extra semester or summer or something, it would be, you have 93. You actually have 109. So did you
Yeah.
come in with a bunch?
Yeah, I transferred.
Okay.
Transferred like 16.
And it probably would be, have you already taken, well, you're taking intro. Have you taken any other social work classes? I guess I could look for you. But that's all you would need is probably those 9 classes.
Nine? I didn't know what's the
Right. And you can graduate and then
You can take that in summer.
You know, we'll be walking stage in the spring.
you still can, so here's the catch. You still can walk and graduate, and there are people that have come back and then added the social work major.
Really?
Yes. So just so you know, just so you're fully informed. I should just look on the left because it would say, yeah, you've taken intro to sociology, criminology. You transferred in a few. You also have all the psych that you need. Are you a psych major?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just taking other stuff now to get credit on. That's all right.
Well, that's what I was telling her. I'm like, if you just do social work as those extra credit hours, it's no extra
Yeah,
classes.
that's what I was trying to do, but I didn't know about the double major thing.
Right. Well, nobody tells you that, and they want to keep you in psychology, which I understand. So that's why I say don't leave psychology, just add social work.
No, I'm just, cause like when I had made my schedule last semester for this semester, I took senior capstone a year early. So,
Okay.
so it's like now I'm just taking stuff. So I got like freaking principles of coaching and sports officiating.
So next semester, is that the same thing?
No, I don't know what to put for next semester.
Well, that's what I would say. If you just clear out 6 of those 9, then you just have to take 3 in the summer, and you got a social work.
Is that the right side?
Yep, all the right side.
So
So
I gotta clear out 6 or I gotta clear out 9 or no?
9 total, but if you did 6 next semester, you'd only have 3 remaining. And you still can walk. So yeah, you still can do all your psychology, walk, do the pomp and circumstance, and then like walk again. Like now I'm a social work major. So it's entirely up to you. Because you only need one of these. That's one elective. You might have already taken them. And then there is 1, 2, 3. You've already taken that one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Really 7, and then the practicum. So that's what separates us. That's where you basically learn how to do a job, whichever one you choose. If
So it's
it's
kind of like field experience.
it is.
That's what we are.
Okay. So it's very similar, and we have some, like if you did it in child and family welfare, we're setting up a new program where you can get a $5,000 stipend to do your internship. And then if you hired into the field of child and family, you get $5,000 sign-on bonus. So just food for thought.
Cause look, so they had me in field experience for this semester, right? I dropped it because one, they weren't communicating with me about the funding. I did hear about funding,
Mhm.
and they want to get back to me about it. I was like, if I can get paid for it, I'm not gonna do it for free.
Right.
Somebody else gonna do it, get paid for it. And Then they had it on Saturday at 9 a.m. I did not know about.
So some people are getting paid for it.
No,
Okay. In psychology, I don't think they have money, but in social work, we're writing a grant.
I was emailing, who was it? Saul Greenberg and some other lady.
Okay.
But when it came time for like semester started, they just weren't responding to my emails.
Where's your internship at?
It was gonna be somewhere in Zen. I had a selection of places.
So you have to do that next semester, maybe.
No, I can if I want to.
So you don't even have to do that, and you still get a psych major. So yeah, you would only have those. Say you took, and some of these are offered second half. So if you only have 12 hours or whatever it is, you can add one of these in October. It's behavior, social environment 2. That's offered second half. I think social policies offered second half. So if you have some hours to play with, if you're only registered for 12 or 15, you could add 3 more.
Yeah, I think that's like 13.
So you could add, and then you have the GPA where you can take overload. So if you did overload this and next semester, you could cram it all.
I really want to overload my last semester.
Right. I hear you. I did it. I added a double major my senior year, and I did 18, 18, 18, 18, and 18 to graduate with both of those on time.
I did 18 my first semester.
It's tough. Guys to be informed is nobody ever fully informed me.
18 credits is how many classes?
It's 6 classes. I had to do it for 7 in a row, 7 semesters. It was horrible.
It wasn't bad. It's very good.
It's good.
It is doable. So
You gotta be disciplined.
yeah, you do have to be disciplined. It does. But you know, I say I wish somebody told me that. That's why I'm always preaching it, and you guys will get sick of hearing me say it. But
Well, I wouldn't. $5,000.
one, it'll save you a year of graduate school,
Yeah.
at least a whole year of 30 hours, and that's $20,000. Nowadays, that's $30,000 to do a year of graduate school. That's how much it costs. Sometimes it depends on which state are you from exactly, or which city, I should say. I'm sorry. Right. So OSU would probably be that much. So you could go here at Wright State, you could go to Miami University, you go to UC, you can go. So anyway, there's lots of options, but nobody ever told me that. And I was a psych major. I still have a psychology degree. Like that's my first degree ever.
So my question is, you're a psychology major. You have a psych degree. You have a doctorate, right?
I did a doctorate in counseling.
Okay. So how does that all correlate into getting a teaching job?
Oh, here you mean. So when you get your doctorate, they train you to teach at the college level.
Oh, bro.
Yep.
So if you weren't a teacher, what are other possibly
Like a million jobs.
bro?
Yeah. Have I ever shown you guys my, I guess it's my resume.
Everybody be acting like, what you want to do with your psych degree? My original plan was never to be a psychologist.
Right. Mine wasn't either. And that was just what I fell into. And if I have,
You know what's crazy? Still studying about to get a nursing program.
What?
oh,
When I'm
got a few people here. So here's what I did. There's my BS in psych. I added theology my senior year. It was crazy.
theology.
Yeah, I did. I also did an MA in theology and pastoral counseling. It's a MA, a Master's of Arts in Theology and Pastoral Counseling. That was at Xavier. But in order, I did 01 psychology, theology. 04, I did social work. And it took me 3 years from 01 to
So I
04.
said the BS, that's your bachelor's, and the MA, that's your master's.
Correct.
And then the MSW.
That's social work.
Master's of social work.
So that's what you get advanced standing for. If you finish here with a Bachelor of Social Work, you get advanced standing. It cuts out half the classes of that master's. 30 hours. And you're
That's your doctor.
that is my doctorate in counseling.
And during that time, you learned how to teach. So you able to
Yeah, so those 8 years in the doctoral program, because I was there from pretty much
2040.
kind of, I worked a lot, like 04, 05, 06. Then I taught some of these places like adjunct for 3 years, and I went adjunct at NKU. Here's all my jobs. So I was clinical social worker at Lighthouse Youth Services, a clinical social worker at Ohio Mentor, Claremont Recovery Center, and then case manager, and even taught ESL. So that was like after my social work degree.
Ain't that sign language? Yes, sir.
English as
Oh.
second language, but ASL was American Sign Language. So you're close. I would think the same thing. And then, yeah, with my psych degree, this is about all that I qualified for. Like, I was kind of an intern. They paid me nothing. Here, I was kind of an intern. Like, these two places gave me housing for like 2 years. Intern in the social work program, but then after that, I started doing all social work jobs and learned how to be a teacher. And then all the classes that they have you teach. So that's how you could do a 1-year MSW, and then there's a 2-year doctorate of social work at University of Kentucky.
So how come you don't teach psychology?
You would probably get a doctorate
No, I'm
of,
saying you.
because I didn't get my master's or my doctorate in psychology.
Oh, okay. You got your master's.
Correct. I could probably teach like bachelor's level psych classes. But
Yeah,
that's-
was saying-
I have taught psych. Now that you say it, I think I taught it right. You're reminding me now. I almost forgot. It was like 2016. There it is. Well, there it is. Yeah. See, I taught intro to psych. So I have taught it before, but I've been mostly a social worker. That's like everything that I do. And then you start publishing about it and writing about it, and like, so that's the gist of it. Not to drag it out too long, but if that shows you guys a path, what's that?
That's your resume.
That's the resume you have to like show off to all. Usually you want it 1 page, but then when you get in academia, they want it 16 pages. It's so dumb. It's just too much. Like all your publications, all your grants, I need to update that, and it's too much. What's that?
Academia. What is that?
Where at?
Academia.
Academia is teaching profession, teaching academics, and
Something you're gonna have to do.
right. Which psychology, that's almost the only choice you have.
Well, see, my plan is after I graduate, I'm going to get my nursing license. Because
That's smart.
like I said, my original major was nursing. That's what I fell in love with.
Oh, right.
So when I
Okay.
transferred to Central.
They didn't have
I
nursing.
almost ended up at Wilberforce.
Okay.
They have nursing, but when you
Right.
enter a nursing program with your bachelor's degree already, it doesn't take as long.
Right.
It's kind of already. an
It's a
accelerated
1
program.
year. My sister did that.
So
I had-
didn't spend as much time.
2 people I knew did that. So
And then with the psych degree, if I wanted to, a lot of nurse route, I could.
Okay.
That's not my route.
So you definitely at least have a plan, and you could also do psychological social work, but just food for thought. You're in good position to do it. You're not in a bad position to do it. You have like 2 open classes this semester and 6 or 7 next semester, and it's an option. Obviously, do what you want and do what you guys choose.
I have a question.
Yeah.
This is not pertaining to credits. How do we see our homework? Because you keep saying homework, but I'm not sure.
You could get into D2L, right?
Yeah, I'm wondering now.
Okay, so you go into D2L, you go under
Is he doing their course activities?
course activities. That's it. And then assignments. And you turn it in there.
Oh.
That's the same for all your classes.
No, I usually go to content, and then they just have my stuff right there.
That's crazy because this is my first year I actually have to go to content to see some of my coursework. A lot of my professors doing that this year.
Probably because they're all getting trained in it right now.
Paper.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've got a paper.
I mean, up to it. Oh, that big.
Right, that's the paper. So there's attendance, and then the social work is a career paper.
How long?
2 pages. Right.
Oh,
It's
You
not
gotta
bad at
answer these
all.
questions, right? What is social work? One day social work.
one day social
Oh, wait,
work.
Google those terms.
Yeah, you just do a search and like
Oh, that's easy. Okay.
it is very simple.
2-page essay on how social work practice aligns with their personal career goals.
Mm-hmm.
With who? Personal career goals.
With your whatever your personal career
Oh,
goals are. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So it's all about you. That's what a lot of social work becomes. You ready for 7 days of heroin in Cincinnati, or do you guys have any other questions? You're welcome to keep asking. What's that?
Oh,
Yeah. we watch.
Has anybody seen this one? It's scary.
It's scary. No, I ain't never seen it.
I should just say, because we know this is going on in Columbus, Dayton, Cincinnati, probably Detroit too. So
Well, before you start up, you said your sister did that. She
the
entered-
nursing one.
She
Yep.
entered. What What did you get her undergrad degree in?
Like health sciences, something stupid that you can't do anything with, like me, which was psychology, something stupid I couldn't do anything with, which is a bummer, is I didn't know that. I'm like, well, yeah, I'll be a psychologist. Well, to be a psychologist, you have to get a doctorate.
Literally, they didn't tell me that. I thought we were getting my master's.
There might be some masters that let you practice,
I
but
don't,
it's,
I don't plan on being in school for that.
that's way too long. And that's why I loved social work, that it was like masters and I can practice. And anyway, that's, what's that?
I'm sorry. I didn't know that I didn't know you could do a assignment thing, but for my other classes, it don't show me no homework. And they're online, so I'm confused.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's not your problem.
Okay. Here we go. 7 days of heroin. It's scary. It's just like, how does this go on, man? Yep.
It's the first day of another week of the heroin epidemic. Over the next 7 days in greater Cincinnati, at least 180 people will overdose. 18 will die. This is normal now. This is a typical week.
That's true too.
5,010% possession status charge. Here's Courtroom A in Hamilton County. It's the first stop for those arrested the night before on heroin charges.
The defendant didn't knowingly have in his possession a clear liquid syringe, which he admitted was heroin.
On this morning, as on most, 1 in 4 cases on the docket is related to heroin. They come from wealthy neighborhoods and poor.
She had syringes in her vagina that she did not disclose.
They are young and old, parents and grandparents, sons and daughters. Sometimes they are brought here hours after they almost, sometimes they don't make it to court. Heroin and other opiates kill 1 American every 16 minutes. That's more than die in traffic crashes.
Cincinnati 911, what is the address of your emergency?
4980 Glenway Avenue, Cookdale Library. My children's librarian is asking for Narcan. She thinks that he may be overdosing.
Hello?
Hello, Cincinnati 911.
Yes, please, sir. My brother and his friend overdosed.
Where's
In my car. I'm right in the bathroom car. What's going on?
Stay breathing.
The lights are blue.
This whole thing, my buddy had been answering the phone, and I believe OD, and I think
Can you leave her the pulse or a heartbeat?
he's ice fucking cold.
I got a phone call. She was all upset for, I couldn't understand her. And I said, I think she's telling me my baby's dead. No, it's not real. No, I don't know. It feels like your soul leaves your body. It felt like somebody just blasted me in the chest with a shotgun. That's what it really felt like. I guess they see it so much, they just look at it like, well, there's another dumbass, whatever. That corner said, I deal with this every day. And they come, well, we deal with this every day. I said, yeah, well, I don't deal with this every day. I don't got to deal with every day of burying my child. Every day my child's dead. I don't deal with that every day. Well, how would you feel if you went home your child was dead? They didn't let me see him, so I didn't believe it. I said, nah, it ain't time. He hadn't been using, he's been clean for a year. He said, Mom, look, I promise you, Mommy, I will never do heroin again. He said, Mom, that stuff they got every day. He said, it's not heroin. He said, it's intentionally made to kill you. So what happened that made him want to do a shot of heroin again?
By the end of the night, at least 20 people in greater Cincinnati have overdosed. 4 have died. In the early morning, Covington police raid a house for drugs and guns. It's a constant battle to keep up as demand for heroin rises. Heroin is big business, and cartels from Mexico want to cash in. They flood markets like greater Cincinnati with drugs and rely on street dealers to find customers. Police go after those dealers, but if one goes down, another is always ready to step in.
There's a right by the church. You see a needle man?
Yeah,
Why did you get the dean?
That's usually what it is nowadays. Somebody laid in the hour. This is what it is now.
Heroin isn't just a big city problem. Small towns across Ohio and Kentucky have been devastated by the drug.
You know, when we started this ministry, we were so excited about just being able to do what God wants us to do. We didn't realize the magnitude of what we were faced with.
Gerald Breeden created House Ministries to do something about it. His church welcomes all, including anyone seeking help with addiction.
And when I hear him talk, it's like it's a demon. It's got, you know, that it's something inside of them that's really evil that's forcing them to do what they're doing. And a lot of these kids were faced with that same choice, and maybe sooner than later with the way things are. The kids that we help and that we minister to, there's not one of those kids that are not affected by the addiction problem. And heroin seems to be the greatest controlling factor. Somebody in their family that's directly connected with drug culture, and these kids are faced with that. And I've also seen some families where not only the parents are using, but they're using with their kids. And that is a really risky place for all of them to be. And I know for a lot of their lives, that just seems like a normal thing that, you know, my parent is using, my siblings are using. And it's an atmosphere that just creates a whole lot more trouble for them when they think that kind of lifestyle is normal.
Father, we just want to thank you for the blessings that you give us. We want to thank you for this day, Father, for these kids that come out. I just pray that you protect them, keep them, draw them close to them, experience your love and your mercy. In Jesus' name. Amen.
By the end of the day, at least 38 people have overdosed for the week. 6 have died. As heroin addiction progresses, people can lose careers, family support, even their homes. Some end up here, under the city's interstates.
I started to hit the homeless camps pretty regularly. It was a lot of alcoholics and mentally ill individuals that weren't being medicated properly. Now it's mostly heroin.
It's Officer Tim Epstein's job to clear out these homeless camps, but he also tries to help.
These people are in a tough spot in their lives. Nobody really recognizes their rock bottom until it's pointed out to them. The goal isn't to take them to jail. The goal is to connect them to services. But sometimes I'll have to take people to jail. Each time you get evicted and have to change something, it's an opportunity to make the decision to make the big change, to actually get off the heroin or the other drugs that you're on.
Kim Hill is preparing to see the son she lost Monday to a heroin overdose. Tom had been drug-free for about a year before relapsing. His friends found him in his apartment, a needle in his arm.
Just to see your child looking like that, and that had been doing good so long. I remember just laying on his chest and listening, why did you do this? Why? Why would you do this, Tom? And I just laid there on him and kissed him. And I didn't want to let him go, and I didn't care how he looked. I just wanted to bring him home.
Crime labs like this one in Cold Spring are scrambling to keep up with demand. Evidence in every drug case ends up in a place like this, where it's tested, measured, analyzed.
You know, if they're really, really into it, this might not be enough for them for the day.
Heroin isn't the only problem. Synthetic opiates such as fentanyl and carfentanil are increasingly common and increasingly deadly. Just a few crumbs are enough to kill.
That's what they're putting on the weed too.
The idyllic suburb of Fort Thomas has had its share of heroin problems.
44, 43, I'll be up.
And the highways bring even more people with addiction through. Police created the heroin interdiction team after the drug was blamed for several deadly crashes in northern Kentucky.
He's high now, so he's going to be why were you driving the truck?
Drug driving is more common now than drunken driving. The right help can be hard to find for those addicted to heroin. Treatment centers fill up quickly. and programs that work for some addictions don't work well for heroin. The Campbell County Jail has a new approach. Women here get evidence-based treatment. They get medication when they leave jail. But that's not where it ends. For 2 years, they get health checks, job training, and housing assistance. Katara Jarvis deliberately got arrested so she could get treatment.
I completely shut down from everything, from my higher powers, from my sisters, from my program. I'm determined. I want this more than anything in the world, not a money by
Cincinnati 911, what is the address of your emergency?
No, I'm in the parking lot of school, but it's like emergency. I think he overdosed. I don't know what he took.
I can remember waking up from being revived, and it was just literally like a fog of dozen people standing around me. I had no idea who was who, and it was terrifying because it's almost like you're laying in a casket.
It took Amy Parker years to learn how to live without heroin. She relapsed more times than she can remember and alienated family and friends.
As long as a person is still alive, there is hope that they can get through this.
But she did it. She got treatment, including medicine. Now she's a peer counselor, helping people who are where she used to be, walking the line between sobriety and relapse.
I'm in a dream. Is it real? And when I look around at my beautiful home in a safe neighborhood with my husband and my kids, it's amazing.
By the end of the day, at least 63 people have overdosed for the week. 9 have died.
Well, we're at 9 Mile and 52.
Claremont County Sheriff's deputies are targeting heroin users on US 52. Pill mills along this route used to give drug users easy access to prescription painkillers. Now, those drug users come looking for heroin.
This is a heroin problem. It's just been the area that we've really had to target, and it just doesn't seem to be going away.
If you were at a beach, put your fingers down, so pinch some sand, and that's literally the amount of heroin that typically a user would purchase.
They'll shove that stuff down in their sock. They'll put it in a real small balloon, shove it in their cheek, bottom of their shoe, underneath the pad of their foot.
You know, it's true of finding a needle in a haystack.
And also for suspension for LVI injury.
When deputies pull over this 23-year-old man, they find drug paraphernalia in the car. The man admits he uses heroin. He says he believes he's safe because he snorts heroin rather than injecting.
I just think that's a lot safer than sticking a needle in my arm.
So you're not doing it every day?
Yeah, sometimes yes.
Sometimes yes.
I don't know if that makes sense, but other times no.
When babies are born to mothers addicted to heroin, they can suffer tremors, seizures, and other withdrawal symptoms. Children's Hospital treats those babies and works with parents to keep them healthy.
Still need a little bit of holding on. You're getting there. There you go. Yay! A little bit of tremor on your belly and see what you can do.
Eliana. Her name means gift from God.
Stephanie Gaffney says she used heroin for years until she learned she was pregnant with Eliana. She lives with her baby at a Cincinnati treatment center.
She gives me something a little bit more worth fighting for. I had a rough and complicated childhood. I don't want her to have to go through any of that I did. I want her to have her parents being consistent in her life. She looks excellent.
You started out so little and you're so big now. Yes, you are.
I don't know how possible it is, but I would like to have as normal family as addicts can have.
10 days after this visit, Stephanie Gaffney overdosed and died. Eliana is now living with Stephanie's parents.
No one wakes up one day and says, this is what I want to do. We don't see them as what most people would see them as, which is prostitutes.
Scarlett Hudson calls them her girls, and these women call her Mama.
Yeah, so she'll be on the street tonight.
Through her Women of Alabaster Ministries, they can drop in for a meal, clothing, or health checks.
We look at them like they have been broken, they're hurt. We don't believe at all that it's a choice that they would make had they had a good choice to make. This is one way that they know that they can feed that addiction. They've resorted to this. We see them through the eyes of Christ. That's how we see them.
We thank you for the days when girls say they're done, when they're sick and tired of being sick and tired of work. Hey, baby, are you hungry? You want to go with me? I'm going up to the building.
Hi.
How are you?
Okay. How are you? Okay. We know that if we keep doing what we've been called to do, that more and more of them will find their way out, and more of them will live.
There's going to come a day when it's going to be your day, and you're going to come in and say, I'm ready, right?
Yeah. They have aspirations and have had aspirations. We just got to find that person again. So when we look at them for what they can be one day, not what they are at the moment.
I'm currently at Burger King on Glenway, and there's somebody passed out in the women's bathroom.
Are they sure that it's a drug? Ma'am, they're passed out. They were face down. Yes, and he was right by her.
Most companies won't hire someone who's struggling with heroin addiction. Warsaw, Kentucky's largest employer, Dorman Products, takes a different approach.
We got 2 new people here. What are you on? What's your thing? How you been clean?
I've been struggling with heroin for the better part of the last 7 years.
Workers meet weekly on company time to talk about their struggles or the struggles of family members.
I've got 4 kids, both my sons are addicts, and they have put me through hell and then some several times. A lot of people just want to look at you and say, there's nothing you can do, just, give it to God and forget about it. Well, that sounds good, but it doesn't work that way, especially when it's your kid. Most of the time, it's an escape. You're hunting for the parts and you don't really have a lot of time to think. That's the hardest part, is putting your game face on and trying to pretend like you're okay. In here, don't have to do that. A lot of the guys that were in here will come up to me on the floor and ask me, how are your boys doing? Have you heard from Josh yet? And that means a lot, because a lot of people, they don't get it. My last job with one of the cashiers, she was talking about heroin addicts one day, and she made a very nasty reference, and I was like, I'm going to stop you right there. I have 2 sons. They're both heroin addicts. You're entitled to your opinion, but I cannot sit here and listen to you say nasty things that they all should die and all of that. I pray that you're never in my situation, because only then are you going to understand it. And I don't want you to learn that way. Every single addict out there is somebody's child.
By the end of the night, at least 123 people have overdosed for the week. 13 have died.
We have a woman overdosed in our public restrooms.
Overdoses happen everywhere. This one is in the restroom at Finley Market. Someone finds a 35-year-old woman in a blue tank top and yoga pants sprawled on the floor. A syringe loaded with heroin is at her side. The life-saving drug Narcan reverses the effects of heroin. A worker at the market has it in her purse and uses it to revive the woman. Usually it's the police or paramedics who have to administer Narcan. This man passed out while sitting on a bench at Pyatt Park. A bike cop spotted him and called for paramedics. Now, the cop is shooting naloxone into the man's nostrils.
There you go. You can hear me. I want you to squeeze my hand.
Look, baby.
Get up.
This is my baby
Get up, Mom. Narcan always doesn't work for a long time, depending on what they're having.
When paramedics show up, They insert an IV and give him another naloxone dose.
Just relax, buddy.
This time the man rouses.
It's okay, buddy.
Relax, you're good, okay? Just lay still.
When he comes to, the medics tell him he should go to a hospital, or at least sit and drink some water, and help to his feet, and then away. By the end of the day, at least 123 people have overdosed for the week. 13 have died.
I think it's ODs on heroin. I think the guy's dead.
Scary moments for a family driving southbound on I-75 near the Weston Hills Viaduct. That's where Cincinnati police arrest a man for OVI on heroin after a crash.
Heroin users cause crashes all the time. Sometimes they shut down a major interstate. When this driver and passenger overdosed while headed south on I-75, paramedics saved their lives. Police charged the driver with driving while on heroin. More people died from overdoses in Butler County this week than in any other greater Cincinnati county. Butler County Sheriff Richard Jones won't let his deputies carry Narcan.
I'm a very compassionate person. I see more than they do. I cry a lot inside.
Jones is the only sheriff in Southwest Ohio whose department doesn't use it. His decision sparked a protest from those who say saving lives is what matters most, and a counter-protest from those who say heroin users shouldn't get free treatment, even to save their lives.
Kids are born in my jail. 3 babies born in 18 months, born addicted. 12 pregnant ladies in my jail and have 35 babies. One of them has 7. They don't have any of them. Children's Services has them. Narcan isn't the issue. The issue is the people that are dying and are doing these drugs, and our politicians and our government does nothing. But I'm not apologizing for my stance, not even this much, and nor will I.
Brianna and Jackson are so freaking happy. They are the happiest kids. I don't understand how they can be so happy. I guess that's part of being a kid, right? You're always really happy.
Maureen Sheriff's front yard is a playground for her grandchildren. Brianna is 9 and Jackson is 4. Their mom, Natalie Bauer, overdosed and died in January. Maureen is raising Brianna and her sister is raising Jackson. They consider themselves lucky to be able to care for the children. Kids of heroin users often end up in foster homes.
It is scary raising a child without the parent. You don't know what to do.
We have to almost smother them with love so that they understand that they're part of a family.
You do understand that it was an accident.
That she didn't leave them on purpose.
People say it'll get better. It doesn't go away. It doesn't get better. I want Natalie back. There's nothing more in this world that I want. I can't have her.
Over 10 minutes, Jackson. I'm going to read a book, all right?
Last night she was crying. I want mommy. I feel like my life is over. What does that mean when a 9-year-old says, I feel like my life is over?
You say something? Please do it.
Brianna was saying last night, why did this have to happen to me? This is so unfair. I said, you're right, it is unfair. I don't know why this had to happen to you. They have to be so brave. If it took her life to bring theirs, and that's what her destiny was, her life was worthwhile.
By the end of the night, at least 154 people have overdosed for the week. 13 have died.
It's never good. They came and running outside to get us. And are they breathing? No, she's not breathing, hon. Her name's Gracie. That's all I know. But my friend has 2 shots of Narcan they're about to give her now. We got to get her on the floor. Come on, guys. She's dead. She's purple.
Gracie, we Back up, Gracie. 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 We're gonna give her another.
Yeah, let's give her another. Either she got a killer, her new her, or she's been off for a while and jumped back into the game.
Gracie. Gracie. There we go. Gracie. Watch yourself. Watch yourself. You got an IV in your arm, okay?
Gracie, you overdose, okay? Watch your step. Big step here.
Okay. Well, then somebody gave you some heroin while you were sleeping. Have a seat right there for us, okay? Too much breathing system.
If the heroin epidemic is a battle, as many in law enforcement now see it, local jails are the overwhelmed field hospitals, the MASH units where the casualties just keep coming.
The city's seen a big spike in heroin OVIs. From what I understand is they've had more heroin-related OVIs than they have alcohol-related OVIs. And they're easier to convict because most of the time they catch up either with a needle in their arm or they give them Narcan to bring them back. And the only thing that Narcan works on is opiates, so you can't really hide that.
I'm dedicated every day to the rush of getting high. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. It's a trend, I guess, within the system. It's really hard to get out. So I found OD dead about 7 or 8 separate times other than the time, so, I probably have 20 odd ODs, I should, by all accounts, probably be dead.
More than 200 inmates at the Hamilton County Justice Center are admitted heroin users. Jail officials believe the actual number is much larger. Heroin users typically don't stay here long. They get patched up and booked, but the jail is crowded. If they've committed no other crime, they are often released within days or hours. Many return again and again.
Thank you for stressing me out. I'm not asking you to pay $6,000. I'm just asking you to be there for me.
Lizzie Hamlin's son, Scotty, has been missing for days. His friend, Tom Tom, died from a heroin overdose Monday.
It's an empty room.
Scotty disappeared after that. His mom is sure he's using again. Lizzie came home from work just minutes ago and could tell that he had returned to the apartment. He left with some of his things. She suspects he will sell them and use the money to buy heroin.
This is my room. I keep it locked. I keep my personal things in there. When Scotty's using, he tends to take things, leather jackets, brand new pants, trade them in, get money, and get high. We had our up and downs, but we had a lot of good times. Respondent has track marks. He has been making up to 5 trips a day to purchase. He's going to Cincinnati 5 times a day for drugs and sometimes cannot make it through the night without using any clothing. Approximately 3 weeks ago, respondent was admitted to Sadie Edgewood Hospital voluntarily and reported feeling hopeless, helpless, and thoughts of suicide. The results in a 3-day stay was unable to stay sober longer than 6 days before relapsing.
Lizzie is going to Tom Tom's funeral tomorrow to support his mom, Kim Hill. But she'll also be thinking of her own son.
See, Kim's going through the process of where she's having to plan this funeral. me, I imagine in my mind, what would I put Scotty in? What kind of shirt would he want? What kind of hat would he want? What shoes? I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know the answer to any of it. If I could lock him to a bed with the chain, and I would. Scott, he just texted me back and said, love you too.
By the end of the week, at least 180 people have overdosed. 18 have died. This is normal now. This is a typical week.
We're here to pay our respects to Tom Tom. He had a big heart and he was all about family. Tom Tom was here today and he could say anything he wanted to us. He would say to those of you that are using heroin, please don't let his death be in vain.
So that is all of, it was a quick film, but it was kind of enlightening to me as I didn't realize all this stuff going on in Cincinnati and Dayton and Columbus. And it did, the video won a Pulitzer Prize. So people in Cincinnati just walked around and filmed it and made it, and it actually did win a prize. So that's all I have for you guys today, believe it or not. I know we're 58 minutes.